It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
Matchless, the word that is used a lot in the world of sport, means that you cannot be compared to anything else, and I think that typifies the life of Kobe Bryant to a T. But let me tell you something, it also typifies ZiFM Sport. Absolutely matchless. Thanks for joining us. It's a Thursday evening, and today we're talking about the great one, Kobe Bryant. In the studio, Mike Madoda, our producer, Sean Tafirenyika. My name is Barry Menandi.
Hi, my name is Luke Bahamute, Los Angeles Clippers small forward, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
So we're going to hear from the man himself a bit later on in the show. But Kobe Bryant leaves behind a legacy as one of basketball's biggest pillars, one of very few players to transcend the sport and become an international icon. The late former Lakers superstar reached the summit of the league that Michael Jordan ran before him and passed the proverbial torch to LeBron James. Bryant inspired a whole generation that grew up calling his name, if only to flick a crumpled piece of paper into the trash. Many of them got to do that with actual basketballs at the highest level. And that was the man, or is the man, Kobe Bryant. He passed away this past weekend, and we celebrate his life in a tragic helicopter accident that also claimed the life of his daughter Gianna and others passengers on that very same helicopter. And in the studio, we got possibly one of the biggest Kobe Bryant. Listen to me saying
Don't insult me.
One of the biggest. In fact, no, we do. We've got the biggest LeBron fan in Sean Tafirenyika and the biggest Kobe fan in Mike Madoda. And in truth, a lot of people will be hearing Kobe Bryant's name and relate it directly to basketball, but not have a clear idea of the path and the journey that the man had walked. And it's no coincidence or no happenstance that he got to where he got to.
Well, he certainly had the pedigree. He's the son of a former NBA player, Joe Bryant. That's his father, of course, and he was nicknamed Jelly Bean. Kobe Bryant was actually raised in Italy. That's when his dad was now winding down his basketball career, so he did stay in Italy. But when he was in America, he grew up in Philadelphia. That's where he rose to stardom, when he was at Lower Merion High School. And of course, at that high school, he led the school to the 1996 state championship. So he was already showing leadership on the field of play as one of the young bright sparks on the high school scene.
That was in his senior year.
Yeah, absolutely, in his senior year. He was then drafted 13th overall, Barry, straight from high school. Yeah. Not via college, but straight from high school, because he was a prodigious challenge. He was drafted 13th in 1996 by the Charlotte Hornets, who then traded him to the LA Lakers. The deal had already been agreed, before the draft pick. So he was then traded to LA, and that trade, Barry, shaped the history of both the Lakers and the NBA, because Kobe Bryant was then paired with Shaquille O'Neal, and of course that partnership was a partnership that dominated the NBA basketball at the turn of the century. Of course, Shaquille O'Neal was snapped up by the Lakers as a free agent, coming down, of course, from the Orlando Magic.
Absolutely, and being a 13th overall pick in the draft means that it puts paid to those that talk about, the first draft pick is the one to watch, and he's the one who's going to light the place up, he's going to pull up trees. It doesn't necessarily follow that. I mean, Kobe Bryant, one of the best to ever do it, 13th overall.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's also a function of the fact that he was coming from high school, so I'm sure the college kids were probably rated, they were in front of him in that draft pick, and they were coached by Phil Jackson, in the LA years, and another legend. He won titles with the Chicago Bulls, and he went on to dominate with the LA Lakers. They won 3 consecutive titles, and then Shaquille O'Neal left, and there were a lot of questions around Kobe Bryant's ability to lead the franchise by himself and lead the team to championships. And he managed to do so. He won 2 championships by himself.
Absolutely.
Just to show his greatness, just to prove, you know what, you guys say that it was because of Shaq. I can do it on my own. And in fact, the sole MVP that he won in 2008 was in a season when Shaquille O'Neal had left Los Angeles.
Absolutely, and those 2 championships that he won were after Shaquille O'Neal had left, added to the 3 that they won when they were together at the Lakers, meaning that he had 5 championship rings. He obviously represented the Los Angeles Lakers from the outset, 1996, right through to 2016, for 20 years, a storied career. He represented Team USA from 2007 to 2012. He led the NBA in scoring in 2 seasons. He's an all-star 18 times. He scored 81 points in a single match. That is the second highest amount of points scored by a single person in one game, and he's the 4th highest scorer in NBA history. That is Kobe Bryant. And in one of his last interviews before he passed away, Kobe Bryant was interviewed by former teammate Matt Barnes and former NBA player Steven Jackson. The Black Mamba talked about his retirement, the new look Lakers, his family life, and his playing career, and we bring it for you right here on ZiFM Sport.
Number 8 and number 24, Kobe Bryant.
Z.
So let's get into it, man. What is the difference between Kobe Bryant post-career and the Mamba, the killer we saw on the court?
Well, I think it's just, a lot of the mentality is still the same. The industry just changes, right? So the same focus, same attention to detail. It's even more so now because, when you play, you got to take time off. You got to let your body heal. You got to do certain things. In business and in creativity, there is no off switch.
Day by day.
Because your brain's constantly working, right? So, the similarities are there. It's the focus, attention to detail, and you try to surround yourself with people that are just as maniacal as you are about their craft. And then the differences are I don't have to put my body through hell every day.
Yeah, true. Some of the things I've seen post-career that I love are obviously, you coaching your daughter and then your new fascination with writing novels. Can you go into detail with those?
Yeah, well, coaching the kids is fun. It just kind of came out of nowhere because my daughter just decided she wanted to play about 2.5 years ago. So started coaching her a little bit, and then she made a local all-star team. And that's where we met the rest of the girls that are now on the team. And, they all started at the real kind of ground level, but they enjoyed playing so much, it just kind of grew into what it is now. And it's been a lot of fun. And then the novel writing really started just with the kids. The kids can't keep reading stories that have no relation to them whatsoever. And I don't mean just from diversity, like a color standpoint, not only just that, but from the fact that they're athletes and there's no story that kind of speaks to athletes. It's all like, there's princesses and sleep and Prince wakes you up with the kiss and all that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to read my daughters that,
Right.
We enjoy that stuff, but it's not, it's not reality of it. You're not going to sleep and then wake up years later and be successful.
Right.
The process. You got to work. You got to work. So I wanted to create stories that I could read to them, for athletes that go through that type of stuff.
Right. Tell me what it's like coaching your daughter, because I coach my boys. We'll be at the same tournament coming up this weekend. What is it like for you being on that sideline?
It's fun because I get a chance to sit and watch and ask questions. That's really my job, and my coaching staff's job is to really ask questions, and let them figure things out throughout the course of the game. And you'll win some and you'll lose some that way. We'll probably win a lot more if we felt like we would micromanage how they play the game and call plays and sets and all sorts of stuff. But we really just kind of sit back and let them process things and figure things out because we are playing for the long game of them being the best basketball players they can be. But it's fun to sit there and watch them hoop.
I love it. What was our pivotal moment growing up where you developed your desire and the tremendous work ethic I speak on and mental toughness that you have? Was there early on? Pick that up?
I'm trying to remember. We had a really competitive household with my cousins and, my father and my uncle and stuff. Like, we was very competitive and, you had to really, really work to just survive. That's with swimming, that's playing basketball, that's playing video games, whatever. I mean, it was when you lose, you not only lose, but you get embarrassed while you lose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I grew up in that kind of environment. So you had to work hard just to kind of keep your head above water, sort of thing. And I came into the NBA, I was like, man, these dudes really don't work that hard. It was kind of an eye-opener. It was like...
Was there ever anything as a player that you remember that was said about you or written about you that really kind of stung and hurt throughout your career?
What's funny? All of it does. A lot of stuff said about me or selfishness type of stuff. It's like, bro, you can't win 5 rings being selfish. Right. Doesn't happen. But I get that's kind of become the mantra. It's kind of become the slang, the vernacular, or the running joke, or he doesn't pass and all this other crap. Man, that's okay, but I'll take those 5 rings.
5 of them?
Right, I'll take 5 of them.
That's a lot.
I know me and Matt, and I know you too, like, I've been misunderstood, and I honestly feel like I missed a couple All-Star appearances due to the brawl.
Sure.
And I've been misunderstood because you know me and he know me, and I'm not the person that they label me to be after being a loyal teammate.
Right.
What's the most misunderstood thing about you?
Well, I think it's that, man. I think it's the selfishness or, arrogant. Well, maybe not the arrogance.
You have to be, though. You have to be. You have to be.
Maybe not that.
You have to be, though.
I mean, when I'm playing, it's a different side of it. I think it's the perception of the way I am on the court is the way I am off the court. It's 2 completely different things, man. 2 completely different things. I mean, I can be an absolute teddy bear at home with my family, with my kids, and enjoying that family time. And I'm really psychotic about having that family time and making sure we're doing what we have to do as a family. I'm doing school drop-offs and pickups and, giving my babies a shower and doing all this stuff. Like, I'm making sure I'm there for them as much as possible. Right. And so, but on the basketball court, it's a completely different animal. And I think the biggest thing is, I see people saying, well, I don't like him.
You don't know. And what?
Okay.
Right.
Who are you?
Right.
Like that sort of stuff. But it's all good. It comes with the territory.
Have you ever shot an air ball from the free throw line?
No.
So how do you feel that you should be, if you're a top 10 player in the league, you should ever shoot an air ball at the free throw line?
I'm sure it happens.
But you haven't. I haven't. I've never been top 10. I don't think if you're a top 10 player, you should never shoot an air ball free throw.
Are you referring to something in particular?
Just people, stars, all-stars period, because multiple all-stars have done it.
Yeah, I can only speak from personal experience, man. I've never shot an air ball from the free throw line.
And you haven't? Okay.
No. Not even with my left hand.
Not even my left hand, right?
All right.
This year will be, when June rolls around, 20 years since you won your first title. What immediately comes to your mind?
No, I remember just us, being really excited that we got through Portland.
They were tough.
What?
Tough. We had Bonzi on set a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us about that series and how back and forth it was.
He was a nightmare. He was a nightmare matchup for me, man, because I was really scrawny and like 120 soaking wet, and him, Stacey Augmon, they really helped me develop my post-defensive presence because that was a weakness. I had to develop that quite a bit. But I remember just going into the Indiana series, we were just ready. We were confident. We knew how we wanted to execute. We knew what we needed to do. And we just tried to take them out their sets as much as possible, man. And then, Jalen slid his foot under mine and caused the series to go a little longer than it should have. But, ultimately, we got it done.
Any pregame rituals or superstitions that you had throughout your career?
Nah, I don't have none.
Just go out there and go to war.
Man, I go out and hoop, man. Like sometimes, like on game day, if I'm tired, I go to sleep. If I'm not, I won't.
So you never
walk around. I'll walk around.
A pregame that wasn't essential for you?
Nah, like if I was tired, I'd go to sleep. Right. If I wasn't, I just wouldn't. Sometimes I'd sleep like for 15 minutes on the training table before a game.
And that's all you need just to reload? Yeah,
because I'm already in shape. I don't need to sleep to be in shape to be ready to go. Like I can run all day already. My stamina's already where it should be. So like whether or not I'm sleepy or not, like being sleepy and then being fatigued are 2 different things. I can play the game and be sleepy and not be fatigued. It's fine.
Interesting.
Lowest moment, like I know we had a couple low moments in our career where, it's either things we control or it was our fault. What was a low moment in your career? I don't really say you having none.
There was a couple of them. Well, losing to the Celtics in 08 was tough. But before that, like at the beginning of the journey, was not playing.
Interesting.
Right? Because I felt like my coach, Dale Harris at the time, was trying to make sure he did not show favoritism to the young kid. And as a result, he swung completely the opposite direction and doing things that weren't really fair. And not playing. So like my first 2-3 years were brutal. Were nightmares.
People don't know that. People don't know that. People don't know you went through that your first 3 years.
No, it was tough. I mean, I sit around, I watch all my peers going out there playing 35, 37 minutes. You know, AI, Ray Allen, they're all doing their thing. Sharif Abdul-Rahim, everybody's doing their thing. And I'm sitting here glued to the bench, getting really, really pissed off and ticked off, thinking I should have just gone to college. I mean, that was the hardest part. Yeah.
What was that breakthrough when it was okay and your number was called? Did someone get hurt? You finally just started trusting you? What was it?
During the lockout season, when the season started, Rick Fox had plantar fasciitis in both feet. But he wanted to play somebody else in front of me, and that person got hurt. And so then he had no choice but to start me at small forward. And so this is when like small forwards were
big.
Small forwards.
Yeah,
this is KG, this is Sharif Abdul-Rahim, this is Pip, this is like, so I started the first 10 games at small forward. I think I started like 7 straight double-doubles or something like that. And then I've been in the starting lineup ever since.
No looking back.
But who the hell knows how long when I came off the bench before Rick didn't get injured. So
it's crazy when you
rough.
see that,
It was
man.
really, really rough. But I'm not playing.
Right.
That's like you sitting down, you're not playing, and you're watching everybody else kill the league when you know you should be doing that. It still pisses me off to this day, because like ultimately, you know, what numbers would you have put up?
Oh, right.
Because everybody wants to go to that. Oh, let's go to career numbers, go to career. I wish somebody would have told me that back then.
That's 3,500, 4,000 more points.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, those 3 years of not playing and sitting on the bench and just watching, it's frustrating.
Tough. What personal growth did you go through from 3-peat with Shaq, he's gone, until you won your next title with Powell and the new crew?
I understand how to connect the team more. I didn't have to with Shaq, because Shaq was the guy that connected everybody and, you know, still drove a hard bargain, but he was the jovial one and connected everybody. And so I figured out how to do that, but do that in my own way.
Right.
You know, with my sarcasm and, you know, dry humor or whatever the case may be, and being authentic with guys, but still being able to build that relationship and understanding this is what it's about. And as a result, we wound up having the closest team. I mean, that was the closest team I've ever played on, man. It was, but that was the biggest change.
Have you ever sat down and had like a real off-the-camera combo with MJ?
Oh, yeah.
What is that like? Looking in the mirror?
No, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. No, we're really different. It's crazy. Like he'll compete
to you
with anything.
To you, y'all different.
I mean, I guess. I mean, like he'll compete with any and everything. I won't. I only compete with things that I really am good at. Like I'm not just gonna
compete on something you don't know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
He'll compete regardless.
He'll compete at everything. You know, he'll talk basketball all day long and nonstop and compare. Well, what would have happened if, you know, my 91 against your 03? And, you know, like, what's this, that?
What would have happened, in your opinion?
Come on, we can't ask him that, man.
I want to know, would it have been complete dominance? Would it have been a 7-game series? What would it have been?
What he started the conversation with was, well, I would have destroyed you. You know, listen, I just said, listen, just remember who you're talking to. Yeah. And he just started laughing. He was like, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. And then we just kind of moved on.
That's dope.
But it would have been fun.
That's dope. That's dope, man. Just to even know that y'all had that conversation is dope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
How bad, I remember playing with you, your whole thing is that you said, I want to sit at the table with MJ.
Yeah.
Meaning you wanted that 6th ring. What did it mean not to be able to get that?
Oh, it pissed me off. You know, but things are what they are. You know, you push for a goal, and my original goal was to try to win 8.
8.
And you push for it, and you push for it, and you push for it, and you do the best you can. And then at the end of the day, you can be comfortable with the results and where they landed and where they ended up. And so, you know, that's the most important thing. That's why I can be really, really comfortable with the career that I've had, because, you know, I worked as hard as you possibly could. And that's it.
You and Shaq were able to win 3 together. Obviously, there's been back and forth of, you know, what he was like, what you were like, whatever. But if you guys were on the same page, connected mentally, how many do you realistically feel like you could have won?
Yeah, probably. I mean, San Antonio was tough. They were tough. And so, like, when the playoffs came around, it wasn't like Shaq and I weren't on the same page. When the playoffs came around, we always were on the same page. We just got beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, we've, you know, the bigger question should be, how many would we have won if the Spurs weren't the Spurs? Yeah, because you probably would have ran the table for a decade.
That year,
he was
killing. He was by himself that year.
Yo, he was lights out. He was lights out, right? And so the talent, the coaching, everything in San Antonio was kind of a perfect storm. And so if they weren't in the picture, we probably would have run 10 in a row. And they probably say the same thing about us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You got a lot of young players that's reaching out to you now.
Yeah.
You know, your advice to them, like what you tell them, like how does that feel?
Depends what they ask. I mean, like a lot of them will come and ask about their game and things that they should do and things like that. And I say, listen, you know the answer to that. I don't know. Like, you know what makes you uncomfortable when you play. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for kids nowadays is that they want to rely on coaches too much and workout guys. Mm-hmm. You know, which is fine to have them help you work out, but you have to tell them what you need, right? You have to be able to say, okay, I feel uncomfortable with this. And if you don't know, then you're not as prepared as you should be, right? You need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are first. And then, you know, I can tell you some of the things, some of the rhythmic things, or some of the exercises, or how much repetition you need to be doing on certain things. But you got to know your game.
Where did that come from, though? Because you see, I mean, obviously one of the greats, you know, is where you rank. But I really see, you know, with your academy out there in Thousand Oaks, like you open up your doors and your arms for players to come in. And where did that come from? That giving back wanted to come from, really?
Well, the guys that came before did the same thing for me. You know, I've had really in-depth conversations with Jay West and talking about things. Same thing with MJ. You know, I've had great mentors, Olajuwon. I've had guys, all-time greats, Bill Russell. I mean, we talked a lot about how to win championships, how to lead. And so I felt like it's my job to try to pass that information on to the next generation and then see the game develop and see it grow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's amazing to look back and see what some of these athletes are doing now, right? Whether it's the generation of James Harden, Luka Doncic now, and some of the players. Like, it's fun to sit back and watch the game grow, and that's why I do it.
Who are some of the younger players or players in the league right now that you do follow when you get a chance to watch?
You know what's funny? I wound up, so before Gigi got into basketball, I hardly watched it. But now that she's into basketball, we watch. It's on every night.
She wants to watch it too.
It's on every night.
I love it.
It's on every night, and I mean every game. I mean, she asked me to get the league pass on her phone and everything.
Oh, yeah.
She watches everything. So, you know, we'll watch. She likes watching Trae Young a lot. She watches Luka a lot. She watches James. She watches Russ. I mean, she watches Bron. She watches.
Mm-hmm. Who you would watch? She watches
who I would watch, I guess. I mean, and there's so many young, talented players out there. It's amazing. And when I took her to the Laker game, that's the first Laker game I've been to, I think, since my jersey retirement.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And we just had so much fun because for the first time I was seeing the game through her eyes. It wasn't me sitting there, you know, as an athlete or a player or something like that, and then, you know, it's like about me, and I don't like that. It was her. Like, she was having such a good time, and the players were coming up and saying hi to her, and you know, and Brown was talking about her fadeaway and all. You know, it was exciting, and she had such a great time. And as a father, I mean, that's
all you want. That's all you can ask for.
Yes.
Last thing before we get out of here, the state of the Lakers.
Yeah.
With AD and LeBron, I think they've turned the corner. You know, hats off to Rob and the front office who've kind of orchestrated this team. But what do you think of first them as a duo, but then the state of the Lakers?
Yeah, well, I think people gotta should really sing Rob's praises.
Absolutely.
Because they were like
killing him. I was the one that spoke. I was one of the people, like I said, when I spoke, because you know me, I'm straight from the cuff. You know, even though I know Rob and I've seen him at games and we've shook hands since, but I was just like, you know, it looks like a disaster right now.
Yeah.
And they navigated through and put parts together that work.
But they seen the big picture when nobody else didn't.
But that's the point, though, right? It's like being able to stay the course. And, you know, Rob and I have talked about that stuff. Like, we don't talk about, you know, this move or that move. It's more so him as a friend is just saying, Rob, you've been there with me. Now it's just you going through it. And you know how we handle it is you just stay the course. All the storms going on and you just stay here. Just do your job, do your job, do your job, do your job. But man, I mean, what he's done with that team in 2 years,
incredible.
From the contracts that they once had and were tied up to what they have on this roster now, I mean, they are the biggest team that I've probably ever seen. Their length,
old school
speed,
big too.
Old school big, tough, athleticism. So they look fantastic. I think the biggest thing for them and what they really need to invest in is health. Making sure the strength training is where it should be making sure physically they're always where they should be. They got Judy over there. Judy's
she's
amazing.
over there full time now. She's one of the best.
She's the best.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the biggest thing for them is just health. If they're healthy, it's gonna be a hell of a freeway series here.
Yeah, so that's you feel like it's going to be Lakers and Clippers coming out of the West?
It looks like it. It looks like it. I mean, that Clippers team is well put together too,
Tough
man. They got dogs, man.
Yeah.
That ain't scared of nothing.
Mikey, on yesterday's show, you asked me a question. You said, what was my favorite Kobe moment, as it were? And I said, his last game. I didn't ask you. What was your favorite Kobe moment?
It has to be the 81. He dropped in Toronto. I mean, just watching that. Yeah, he went.
Did you watch that live, by the way?
Yeah, I watched it live.
Sure.
He went red hot.
You must have been holding your head.
Yeah, he went red hot. And what I loved about Kobe Bryant, I think that distinguishes him from this current generation. And I think you did mention that Sean is a LeBron James fan. And of course, LeBron has grown into it. But Kobe Bryant, from the very earliest years of his career, he took responsibility.
He did.
And he is a guy who knew his greatness, and he knew the ability he had to win matches, to inspire, and to single-handedly destroy teams. Pretty much like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You know, when Michael Jordan was red hot, he wanted the ball. And he delivered. And Kobe Bryant did that against Toronto.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted the ball. I think he was taking shots from almost everywhere. And that's the thing. That's the ability Kobe Bryant had, isn't it? You know, that it could be in the arc, it could be beyond the arc, it could be in the D. You know, he could mix it up with the biggest of boys. You know, he could be physical when he needed to. You know, he could be smooth if he wanted to. So he was that type of player, you know, as an all-round player. And you see so many similarities to Michael Jordan. He was a fantastic player. And I think Michael Jordan was made greater by the fact that Michael Jordan played in an all-star team. You know, his Chicago team was a team that was made of all-stars. It was a great team. If you take a look at Kobe Bryant, you know, especially in the latter years of his career, he was carrying a franchise.
It was almost a one-man show.
It was almost a one-man show. And even at the best of times, you know, he had Paul Gasol's here and there. You know, I can maybe look back to the team that he had with Shaq. That was a really good team, you know, with the likes of Robert Horry, etc. But in the latter years, he was carrying the franchise, you know, and we know what happened when Michael Jordan went to the Charlotte Hornets. It didn't quite work out.
It didn't fire,
you know, he was quality, but he couldn't inspire the team to greater heights. And that, for me, perhaps is the difference. So that night, he went red hot. 81 points, Barry.
That's insane.
It's insane.
And in today's game, it's so hard to imagine, because when a player gets a 40-point game, it's something we
and 50 is like, wow, we go gaga.
No, everybody step back. You know,
now add 30.
Guys, it just doesn't work out. Does the fact that he is a one-club man also help to cement the greatness?
Those are my favorite sports stars. The ones that show loyalty. The ones that, you know what, don't choose the easy path. That for me will always be the difference, for example, between your Kobe Bryants and your, let's say, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant chose the easy way. You know, he went over to a Golden State Warriors that was already winning. You know, that was breaking records of their own, and he went in there. He's a quality player, but he chose the easy route. You know, LeBron did the same thing as well when he went to Miami. But credit to him, went back to Cleveland and was able to lead them to a championship. So you know what, those are the guys I like. You know, in football, your Paolo Maldini, one club man. Steven Gerrard, one club man, you know.
I was waiting for Steven Gerrard to
absolutely. You know, he could have gone to Chelsea.
He could have,
He could have gone to Chelsea. United wanted him. Bayern Munich wanted him. Barcelona wanted him. Real Madrid wanted him. He turned all of them down. Juventus wanted him. AC Milan wanted him. He stayed. He could have won more elsewhere. He would have been a bigger legend, arguably the greatest Premier League player of all time. But he chose to stay at Liverpool.
Indeed, and we wish that Kobe Bryant could have stayed a little bit longer on the planet, but sadly that is out of our hands. However, the time that he was here, we certainly looked, marveled, and were inspired. His life looked like it was taking a turn towards business. It was taking a turn towards development of the game, and particularly the women's game. But sadly, we will never know. He had to say, Mamba out.
Play of the day. The biggest artists with their biggest hits on the biggest show. ZiFM Sport.